Hey everybody, thank you for joining another mscrm-addons webinar. Today we're going to be covering our add-on attachment extractor for Dynamics 365. Kind of going to go over a little bit about what attachment extractor does, and then want to introduce you to our new online configuration tool that we have to configure attachment extractor and use that. As usual, we do record these. So a recording will be provided to you after this is over. It usually takes about a couple hours to process it. Also, we'll be making these slides available to you so that you have them, so you can see them and just kind of review them if you'd like. Also, down there in the lower left-hand corner, as I've said before, you probably already heard me say this before, there's a chat. You just click on the chat tab. During the presentation, you can ask any kind of questions that you want to. And I have a couple of team members in the chat there that will answer any of those questions while the presentation's going on. I'll try to get to some questions afterwards. I'll do like a brief Q&A, time permitting. So I want to go ahead and start off here and talk a little bit about attachments in Dynamics 365. And specifically, we're looking at Dynamics 365 kind of versus SharePoint and what the benefits and some of the negatives are with both of them. So for Dynamics 365, all your attachments and notes are stored inside of your CRM database, and usually we find with a lot of our customers that it usually takes up about 70% of their storage capacity. So it's also kind of hard to find, and also the attachments, you can't really search for attachments inside of CRM. So if you're looking for a particular attachment or something, it's really difficult to find that attachment. Also, we've estimated that it's $9.99 per gig per month for extra storage, and that can really kind of add up quickly. On the other side of the picture, we have SharePoint. And with SharePoint is your advanced document library. You can actually associate those files to CRM records via the CRM SharePoint integration. So you can actually view these files actually in Dynamics 365 just by going to the documents, and you can see all the list of documents that you have on SharePoint for that particular account or contact or whatever. In SharePoint, the records, the attachments and everything like that are really easy to search with the search function, and it costs usually about 20 cents per gig per month. So you can see on the one side we got Dynamics 365 that holds everything together, and SharePoint, that's kind of like a file repository. How do we kind of combine those together? And our solution is Attachment Extractor, and basically Attachment Extractor is it'll analyze that database looking for attachments. It'll move or copy those files to SharePoint. So with a move, it's actually getting that out of your Dynamics 365 database and putting it onto SharePoint, shrinking your Dynamics 365 database. The copy is actually file replication. So if you need to replicate those files that you have on Dynamics 365, you've got alternate stores for SharePoint. You can replicate those. It's very helpful in migrations or doing updates. We found that some people, when they're going from another version of CRM on-premise to CRM online, what they'll do is they'll use Attachment Extractor beforehand to extract those attachments out so that the database migration to CRM online is not so big. It also helps you with archiving of data, and it's actually going to save you costs. One of the biggest benefits is it allows you to automatically establish a structured library. So using that the Dynamics 365 SharePoint integration, the integrated SharePoint integration, it actually will put the files in the correct folders, based on how you configured your SharePoint integration. Another thing about it is, for example, the cost savings. Let's say if you had 50 gigs of additional storage costs, and these are annual costs here. So the Dynamics 365 storage would be, $5,994. For SharePoint, it'd be $120. So you're looking at a total savings of $5,874 per year. Now, that's just an estimate there. We usually find that Attachment Extractor usually pays for itself in about 3 to 6 months, in savings that you get. So basically, we want to talk a little bit about how it works here. All work is done by a service. So we have, up top we have our Dynamics 365 instance, and below we have our SharePoint instance here. So you can either do it one of two ways. The first way is running on a local computer or server. The second way is running it on a hosted Microsoft Azure server, either done by yourself or hosted by us. Some of the tasks and features that it has, again, it moves and copies attachments and notes from Dynamics 365 to SharePoint. Then what it's going to do is it's going to actually place a link to the extracted file inside Dynamics 365. So users can actually access those files from inside of Dynamics 365 as usual. So they're not going to have to jump to SharePoint to kind of find these files. We've got some logic that's kind of built in, so you can actually do like black lists and white lists. You can also set a delay. So if you want to say delay the extraction of an attachment like 2 days, a week, 2 weeks, however you want to do it, you can do that. Blacklist and whitelist, again, that gives you the ability to say, like, I don't want it to touch these particular entities and look for attachments there. It'll just ignore them. We also provide analytics, so you can actually kind of see what's going on behind the scenes. We've got a scheduler in there as well, where you can actually schedule when the service runs. This is the scheduler is mostly for the on-premise, or if you're running your own Microsoft Azure server. For the online, that will be coming, but it's something that we can already do. We can do that for you. So the scheduler is coming, and if you need it right now, that's something that we can actually handle and do for you. So you can actually set up a scheduler. It works with Dynamics SharePoint. It works with the Dynamics SharePoint integration. So your files and everything like that go into the correct folders, and if a folder's not there, it's going to automatically be created for it. It also supports standalone SharePoint. So if you don't have the integration, but you do have SharePoint, you can actually set that up as well, and several other features. Too much to count. So want to talk a little bit about, this is where we want to introduce, the Attachment Extractor online service configuration. And this is hosted on a Microsoft Azure server by us. Some of the benefits are, it's a self-service portal. It takes about 20 minutes to deploy. That's a combination of installing from AppSource and then, configuring your service to go. There you can handle all the configuration right there in the portal. You can check your licensing and also check statistics as well. The performance, it's basically what we're shooting for is to put this service in the same data center as your CRM and SharePoint, your Dynamics 365 and SharePoint, so that it's really, really fast. There's not a lot of lag time. That's one of the benefits over hosting the service yourself or putting it on your own particular server. We're in the same data center, so we can move things a little bit quicker. It's maintained by us, so if there's any updates or anything like that to the product, it automatically gets pushed, and so you don't have to do any kind of administration to it whatsoever. We're also, if there's any kind of errors or anything like that, we'll be able to be on top of that a lot quicker than, say, if you're maintaining it yourself. The pricing model of it, they're basically set up as annual subscriptions. I'm not going to talk a lot about the pricing right now, or I'm not going to talk at all about the pricing right now. I'll give you a couple email addresses so that you can write to get more information on that, or you can just visit our website. It's all on there as well. So one of the prerequisites, though, for using this, the online service configuration, is you do need to be using Dynamics 365 or CRM Online. And you have to be using SharePoint Online, and that would be SharePoint Online version 2013 and upwards. Those are the prerequisites that you have to have to actually use this tool. So just want to move on here and kind of get into our live demo. Basically, what I'm going to show you right now is kind of a step-by-step setup of the Attachment Extractor service. There's a couple things I'm going to skip, but we'll get into that in a second. And then I'm going to just give you a self-service portal overview so you can kind of see how that works. So I'm going to go over here. So to CRM here. As you can see, I've got CRM. This is just a standard, demo system here of Dynamics 365. And here I've got a contact pulled up, and as you can see here, we've got different activities here. Takes a minute to load here. So I got a few activities here, phone call activities and email activities here with, basically the standard emails here with, attachments. This is where, the attachment sizes are small, but, they over time, the more and more you get in there, the more and more they build up and take up your space. Also here, the other thing is, like, for example, notes. I've got several notes in here with attachments in here, PowerPoint presentation, Excel, Excel sheets, Word documents, etc. All that stuff ends up over the long term. As you pile more and more information in there, it all ends up adding up eventually. So to configure, to kind of show you that, and then what I want to do here is go and pull up here the Attachment Extractor service right here. And basically what you're going to do is you can install this from the Dynamics Marketplace or the AppSource. You can just look up Attachment Extractor and you'll find that. What we then do is we add a little shortcut here. So I've gone ahead and I've already done that install, already pushed it over. And this is going to actually pull up here this our getting started page. Now, one of the things that, let's see here. So when you get to this page, actually, let me just log out here just to kind of show you it from the beginning here. I was already logged in. But so this is what you're going to see after you install it from the AppSource, okay? Basically, you can, if you don't have a username and password for our website, you can actually just enter your email address in here. We'll send you information about your username and password, but you can just enter your email address and hit continue and automatically start configuring your Attachment Extractor service. For us, we do have a username and password, so if you already have one, you can just use it. So we're just going to use, spell this right. All right, and put that username and password in there and go ahead and continue. So what this does, once you log in, it goes ahead and brings you over to the Attachment Extractor service configuration. Also, this is for Documents Core Pack as well. This is something you'll see if you're installing Documents Core Pack. Here, basically, you can choose what product you want to install here. But one of the first things that I need to do is I need to set up a connection profile. So if you don't have a connection profile set up, you just do that basically. Once you click that button, it'll take you in there and you'll set up a connection profile. Since I already have one set up here for a different system, if I hit the button, it would automatically take me into that service configuration. But here, just to add a new connection profile, I just click my little plus here. Then I need to get my URL here for my Dynamics 365 instance. Then I'm going to want to enter in my username. Lucky I have that copied, and then my password. All right. So I enter that information in, and then hit my Retrieve Organizations button. That takes just a brief moment, and it returns the organizations that I'm a member of. So I'll pick my org here, and I will verify my connection and save the profile. Now, this just takes a brief moment. Basically, what we're doing here is some checks. The main one is here, we're checking the connectivity. Okay. The second one is we're checking the permissions. Now, the user that you are entering in here needs to be a system administrator. In order for us to make this communication with your CRM system. Usually what we recommend to people is to create a user inside of CRM, just like a service user like Attachment Extractor service, and make them basically a system admin and then enter those credentials in here. So it checks those permissions, it checks the connectivity, checks the permissions, and then saves the profile. and it asks me what I want to do here. I want to do an attachment extractor service. Then what it does here is it goes in and brings this up. What it's actually doing right now is it's actually just testing to see which attachment extractor instance it should put you in. Right now, because this is new, we're just picking the one in particular that's closest to us. I believe we only have one, but there's a few more that are coming online here shortly. Usually it automatically puts the service name in for you. Usually it's the org name, the unique org name for your CRM instance. You can change that if you want, but usually just leaving it just the same is fine. Again, it's going to pick the correct profile there that we're going to need to use. And then we get down into the real settings here. So basically the first one is, are we using SharePoint integration or not? If you are using CRM SharePoint integration, you just click this and you're done. If you're not, you can actually point it to your SharePoint location, to your SharePoint URL. You just have to have the entire URL and then the specific library or site that it's going into. So here, since we have CRM integrated SharePoint, I'm going to use that. Now, the next one is the storage options for entities without the document management enabled. You can do one of two things. You can leave them alone, or you can specify a SharePoint library to extract those two. One thing of note, this can't be two separate SharePoint instances. Okay, so you can only use, like for example, if you can only use the same SharePoint instance to extract these things to. So you can't push to two different SharePoint instances. So they have to be the same. And then what it's basically going to do with these without the document management enabled, it's going to put those into like weekly and daily folders. Okay, so that's something that you can specify. Here we need to put in our SharePoint credentials. So let's see here. Let me just put in user here and then my password. All right. And then the next thing is what I wanted to extract. So the email attachments and note attachments, that's pretty logical. You can set one up for email attachments, or if you want to just do email attachments, you just check that. You just check what you want. Now, email body and note body, there's actually it will pull down the body of the email and put that into a text file for indexing on SharePoint. If that's something that you use, that's something that you can pull out as well. This will kind of slow it down a little bit, but if it's something you need, you can actually set it up right there. The next is the email subfolder and note subfolder. So you can actually define, for example, if you want emails to go under if we're extracting from a contact, and we want to, when we're looking at SharePoint, we want to specifically know, hey, in this folder, these are all the attachments extracted from emails. You can just put in, whatever subfolder that you want to put in there, and everything from an email will go into there, and then everything that were notes will go into that folder. So you can set up the subfolders, helps keep everything all nice and neat, just if you want that. The next is probably the most important one, the data processing, what you want to do with it. You can either copy or extract, and it's just what it sounds like. Copying is kind of a replication. It's going to keep that data in CRM, put a copy on SharePoint. Extract, it replaces the data inside of CRM. So in this particular case, we're going to want to extract. Now when we click this, there's a warning here. Definitely want to read this. Definitely want to confirm that this is the organization that we're going to extract from. Once you've done that, you've read and understand what this means and want to extract the files from CRM. So you do have to do that. So, and then you want to click here, extract. There you go. Now, minimum attachment size filter. Here, basically, it allows you to filter with, kilobytes or megabytes. Usually what we find is 64K. That's large enough to where it's not going to get all those little image files from emails and things of that nature. Well, yeah, did I say that wrong? It's basically large enough to where it's not going to get those image files, but it's basically small enough to where it's going to get like the smallest Word doc, you know. So it'll, or you know, text file or something along those lines. So it'll extract that. But that's a pretty good one. You can play around with that however you want to. Here again, this is the what we were talking about. So you can set like a time limit. This can be hours, days, weeks, months, or years. So you can set a time limit. So I want to extract files that are older than 6 days. Okay. So you can set that up. That's really handy. Like, say for example, like if you're, you know, forwarding a lot of emails with attachments to people out of CRM, you know, you can set this for like, you know, 2 weeks or what have you. That way the attachments are still there, you know. And then after that, this time limit's up. It's going to take those and it's going to process them. In our particular case, we don't want to do anything. Here we have some advanced options here. A lot of these I'm just not going to go over, just the important ones. Again, here if you want to learn about them and you're going through them, you know, naturally you can hover over these and it actually tells you, you know, a little bit more information on that. But the two that are really important here are the new folders per week and day, and that's what I was talking about up here. If I scroll back up, if I want to extract those to a specific SharePoint library, I'll put that in. I'll put the URL in there, and then I'll come down here and tell it if I want a weekly or a daily folder. Okay. So you can set that up. Again, it's all personal preference. I mean, do you care if you're using it as a just a alternate storage method and you're not going to go in there and look for things? Weekly's fine. But if you kind of want to break it down by day, you need a little bit more control over that, you use the daily. Again, you have your black and white lists. You can use either. You can't. No, you can use one or the other. You can't use both. Naturally, white list trumps a black list. So like if you're only interested in, like, instead of having to put in every single entity under the sun because you just want to extract from one entity, you just use the whitelist and configure that. This configuration is not available until we actually save the service. So, you know, but this is basically where you configure those. And that is, I think, the most important part. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually save the service here. And then, you know, it's telling it's going to take about an hour. It usually doesn't. But then again, here we go. We're going to check our connectivity, go through, check the permissions one more time, and then check the SharePoint just to make sure that we have a connection to that. Then import our solution. Doesn't take long. And then apply some security rules, and then start, you know, import the attachment extraction solution and set the service up. Now this does take just a few minutes. So let's see here. I just want to talk a little bit about, let's see if there's any questions that I can answer really quickly while we're waiting on this to happen. Let's see. Can the extraction be triggered from a plugin event? I want to extract emails if it matches certain criteria. You know, we don't necessarily go that deep. I'm gonna have to ask. One of the guys on the support team should be able to answer that question, and if not, there we go. Let's see. Any other questions while we're waiting on this to go? Everything clear so far? Everybody understand? I mean, it's one of the things that I find about this is that it's a lot simpler and a lot more straightforward, and it's come a long, long way since we were doing this with the 2011 version. And just the fact that it's, you know, it's all online. You have a lot of easy access. You can access this configuration anywhere. No, it is not reversible. I mean, we do. We're kind of looking into that right now. If you're talking about reversible as in as in, like, say for example, you want to revert an extraction, like if you want to send an email and you want to revert an extraction, we can't do that right now, but in our next upcoming webinar, we've got a tool that kind of goes along with this, and also our activity tools that we're really excited about that we're going to show you that's going to help out with that. So in our next webinar, that'd definitely be something to check out. So, all right, so now it looks like we're finished here. You know, there's a lot of information here. I suggest you read it over. I'm going to do the natural thing that everybody does and clicks OK, and goes ahead and goes. So now one of the things is once you configure the service, it's automatically stopped. It's in the stop stage. One thing here, just want to check out the license and show you that. And so we've got to pull this all up. And this is rather important here. Basically, what we allow you in the trial is the trial is basically you can trial this for an unlimited amount of time. The thing is you can only extract up to 500 attachments. All right. And the other thing is, and usually after 2 weeks, we slow the process down. Okay. So, you know, one of the things that I always suggest to people is to do this in a sandbox environment. Put a couple of files up. You know, just a couple of records, a couple of different files and everything like that. You know, run it, let it extract, and then stop the service, and just, you know, and then tweak everything the way that you want it to be kind of tweaked. Don't get it and run it on production or a dev instance where there's a lot of attachments and it just goes and gets everything, and then all of a sudden you've done 500 attachments because you left it alone for an hour or two, and then your trial's over. You know, make sure you're present when you're running this, so you can see exactly what it's doing and make sure that it's doing what you want it to do. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. And let's go ahead and fire this up. So easy to do. Select it and hit the play button. There we go. So now it's going to fire up here. And it takes just a brief moment here to do. But again, this is pretty simple to configure and everything. So, and again, a lot of the you know, the having to update and everything like that, that's something that you don't have to really do anymore because we'll do that for you. So here we go. Now I want to go ahead and duplicate this and go on back here to our contact where we were before, where we had some attachments. And let's see. Here, let's check out the progress here. So this is basically our extraction process, where you can kind of see what's going on. You've got your progress. You've got if there are files that failed, you can see that in there. You can see why. This is basically, so it tells you how many notes are processed, emails are processes, and attachments, total attachments, how much data has been transferred. And then you have your notes process range and your email process range. And now basically what this does is it tells you the range of notes and emails that it's processed in. So as you can see, these dates are pretty much the same, so it hasn't really processed anything. So we're just kind of waiting on it. Here, we'll just refresh here. Okay, there we go. We've got our first one in. This is from right now, so we can. This is going to change. This a little bit cumbersome, but you know you get the gist of it. You can see here. So here during our demo here, we've got one finished, and we can tell here that it's been extracted. Let's see here. It's from an email, so it's processing an email right now, and then it tells you a lot of different information here. Again, you have a link to where you can go and you can open it up and view it on SharePoint. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look and see what it looks like inside of CRM here. Let's see. We can go back to that contact. All right, so great. So that was basically an email. So let's go ahead and take a look at our activities here. And I know the particular email there because it, you know, told me here right in here basically what the subject of the email was. So I can come in here and look. This is the particular email. I open that up, and as you can see, what's happened is that PDF has been replaced here with this particular file. So I can click on that, and and then just open that up. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I'll have to. There's some settings that I have to change in Chrome to do that. This is actually going to, with the next update, with what we're going to show next week, you'll be able to click this and it'll open up automatically. So let me go ahead and show here. Let me grab my contact here, and we'll go ahead and just look at it on SharePoint here. So we'll go over to the documents here in SharePoint for this particular contact, their document location. Pull that information back from SharePoint. Here we go. So we've got that. There's the file right there. You see we've extracted a few more here as well. So that's basically what it does. It gets it going, and it's just extracting right there in the background. You can again open those up and check them out right from SharePoint. There we go. We've been sending this person some information on telephone integration. So there you go. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Again, be able to take a look at this and look at the different. You can always come to this and see exactly what it's doing. So, all right. I want to thank everybody for joining today. And again, feel free to join our any of our upcoming webinars that we're going to be having. You can find out what those are on our website. If there's a support tab, you just hover over it and then go to webinars, or just follow the URL there. Some resources, again, you can find us on the web. Just Google our name, mscrm-addons, or just go to the website there. Our help center is I used to just say go to the let's see, like if you go to our website, click on support, it'll take you right to our help center. And another thing, we have an awesome blog, and unfortunately I forgot there's a new URL here. So let me just kind of show that to you really quickly. Just where that's located. Our blog now has moved away. I mean, the old blog's still there, but all the new articles are going onto the new blog. If you come over here to support, you can see here, you've got the webinars. You can see our upcoming webinars, or the blog right here. You can come on in and view the blog. There's a lot of good information here. There you go. That's what I needed to do to bypass that security check. So there you have it. You can look at that and check that out. Fix all that. So yeah, our contact information below is U.S. office. This will get you to the sales department. Europe, again, that'll get you our European number. For technical questions, you can always write us at support@mscrm-addons.com. And for any other questions, pricing, whatever, you can write us at office@mscrm-addons.com. For worldwide sales, except for USA, Canada, Mexico, that would be sales@mscrm-addons.com. And for North America, it's US sales@mscrm-addons.com. So I want to go ahead and take some time to see if there's any questions and then that I need to answer. It looks like my support team has been handling that really, really well.